Hey guys, so I know I've been missing for a really long time. School just went into full effect. Definitely, year 3 is not a joke, and I'm getting full swing into this dissertation proposal writing process. And I think like about 2 weeks ago, it actually hit me that I am writing a dissertation, and to me, that's kind of an overwhelming and scary thought, that almost to the point of paralyzing me, in which I mean that like I can't get anything done. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do to, I don't know, what I've done to keep the anxiety from overwhelming me. So first is the typical time management strategies. I'm like, obsessed with my calendar. I'm obsessed with making to-do lists, and I laugh when I say that because my whole life my mom was this to-do list person, and that's a common sense kind of suggestion, but just putting everything on paper can sometimes help me to keep things in perspective and realize that it's actually not as much as I thought it was. And it also helps to keep me, chugging through at a pace that's good for me, and not, kind of looking at everything saying I have to get all of this done now. I can actually see like, okay, only these 3 things need to be done by the end of today, and I can handle that. The second thing I think is, as you're prioritizing, make sure that one of the things you're prioritizing is yourself. My workouts and diet were such a big priority over the summer, and because it was really the only thing that I had to do. Those 2 things are always the first 2 things to go when school starts. It's so important to pay attention to when things like that are falling off track, because all of that contributes to stress levels and energy levels, and which in turn affects your ability to engage with the work. So again, another common sense tip, but as you're making those to-do lists and as you're making your calendar, make some time for yourself, prioritize the time for yourself, and hold yourself accountable to that, because it gets really easy to say, well, this is just my gym time, so I'll go to this extra lecture instead, or I'll go to this extra meeting instead, or yeah, I'll have dinner with a friend instead. But sometimes you just do need that time for yourself to do something for yourself. So the third thing I would suggest is to make sure you put together a really good or identify who your support system is. Like your never failing, always there, ride or die support system. And I think there are some key members to that support system, or some key players. I think for me, it's the person who reminds you to stay in the present. And for I have a couple of people that fill those roles. It's very easy for me to get caught up in the what ifs and the, thinking about, oh, I have this way down the road, and how am I going to deal with that when that comes along? And what I'm really grateful for is I have my dad, who keeps me really focused on what's going on today, what's happening right now, and how can you make, what steps can you take right now to alleviate whatever stress you're feeling right now. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about next week. What's going on today? So who's your person that helps to kind of compartmentalize things and keep you from, dealing with everything all at once? The second person I think is the person who has the experience and the background knowledge, that when you really need some practical, like, how do I navigate X system? What's your advice on going about X problem, or solving X problem? And for me, that's my mom. Also my dad to a certain extent, especially when it comes to financial related things. But my mom went through a similar program in the same exact university. So there's really no one better to ask for that. And she will give me the real deal. No sugarcoating, nothing. And it's really nice to have that to go to. And, then the biggest one, I think, is the person that reminds you or helps you constantly remind yourself about why you started this. Like, why the work that you're doing means something to you or is important and bigger than you. And that person for me, a number of people fill those roles, but I think recently the person that has really done that for me lately is my boyfriend. And he, there's been so many times since the two of us have been together where I'm just like, I'm over this. It's hard being away from my family and my friends, and it's just overwhelming, and I'm tired all the time, and And his first thing is always like, no, like, remember why you're doing this. Remember the bigger picture. Remember the end goal is bigger than just this degree. It's what you want to be able to do with your life. And that constant reminder really it refuels me every time. And it's great to have that person. So who is that for you? Make that person above anything, I think, is the one that plugs the batteries in. And in that moment where you're like, you can't write another word, you can't read another word, just reminds you that it's bigger than that paper, it's bigger than that book, it's bigger than that presentation. And this whole process is part of a bigger picture. And then you just have the general support team that's just there for the morale boost. And, all those other members of my support system do that for me as well. But I think my brother and my best friends, they add to that general system. They're always there for the comic relief, the distraction when the positive distraction when I need it, just a phone call to just get my mind off things for a while. And that's necessary too, because you can sit and wallow, and wallowing can lead to becoming even more overwhelmed. So put your support team together and get those key players, and then don't be afraid to call on them. So those are my big 3, I think, for getting through this. If you have any other tips about how to deal with those moments when you get overwhelmed with your schedule or your work, or just the coming together of all of the goals, write them down below. If you have a cite, a poem, a quote, whatever that gets you through moments like these, put them down. If you head over to the blog, I will have some of my favorite quotes and stuff that gets me through moments like this. But thanks for watching, and as always, enjoy the journey. Bye.